Welcome in. Turn 15. Pretty exciting. We have our first claimed throne. This is right? His prophet. Claim the silver throne. So you get some extra income. You can recruit those air astral 2 mages. That's a pretty good get. We'd love to have that throne. We found our first magic site that we had to search for. Enchanted Gate, Astral +1, in Knobville, our favorite town. We did not find any nature sites in the forest there. And we spotted our first Zamatia fight. And pretty impressive army here. I'm gonna pause it for a sec. These guys, we'll just let it run. So it's the newest nation added to Dominions, and this game started up pretty much after they were released, maybe a couple weeks after. Strong nation, very cool. They've got these boost knights, right? I'm sure at this point you know all about them. And magic power, very powerful to have on national troops. So we're in. Oh, where is it? Nothing's known about the Dominion in this province, but we can see magic power +1. So we assume there's one magic scale here, right? And it boosts attack skill, it boosts defense skill. What else? Strength, right? Yes, and magic resistance, which is big to know for us. And you see another bonus here, +3. So if we peek at their bless, yeah, magic resist +3 on the bless, pretty high. They're really leading into that. They also have a penetration bonus on their bless, so that to me reads they're planning on doing a lot of glamour AoE spells, and those can be quite effective. And I mean, look at this guy, 18 magic resist when he's blessed, and this is just magic scales 1, so that could be even higher. Very, very powerful there. And I mean, they're just a great full plate of the moose has plate barding, a lot of hit points, some pretty good attacks for a mount, right? And that is one of their weaknesses. The mount has basic magic resist 8, so they really shored that up. It's up to 12, and they can put that even higher. Well, I guess if it was magic 2, you'd get the malice, right? That we're counting on, but that kind of bounces out there. And yeah, these guys are gonna be very tough to deal with. And so I'm really glad we have our sacreds who can put them to sleep potentially. And since they take 2 sacred points to recruit each, they're not gonna have that many of them. Like, what is this? A dozen, right? Plus the commanders back there, and that could be. If they start with 6 candles, that's only 3 a turn. Start with 8, it's only 4 a turn. And 8, starting with 8 candles is a lot. It's a lot of design points. So, anyways, we just have PD here. And obviously it's not going to stand a chance. They also have some pretty good dual wielders here that are stealthy. The skin shifters that have regeneration, right? And they turn into a bear. And then they have the ones that turn into a wolf as well. But those are cap only. Very good units. I mean, when you combine with magic power, right? So they won't benefit from the bless, but by far the best magic resist we've seen in the game, right? They're pretty scary, and they cleaned up here. They're on the offensive, taking Marion down. So we got our first glimpse there. We'll take a look at the world map, see how that's developed. Here's us taking back that swamp from those cheeky barbarians, right? And we've got a bunch of sacreds here. Our first mage in battle, casting Body Ethereal, so he gets 5 of them. Pretty good, 1 cast. So you hope he hits. There's another full square, 5 more Body Ethereal. Once they start moving, their accuracy starts going out the window. So I think he only got 3 with that cast. I'm not sure why these guys are split up. They're suffering from swamp, but everyone should be. No one's injured. These are all fresh troops. So that's interesting that they split up there. And then he casts it one more time, and he's like, okay, can he hit another guy? No, he cast it on one single pope. So I split them up. I don't put them in the same square to try to avoid that, because you put them all in one square, they like to cast it and protect the commanders. But we're already heavily striking. We've gotten some kills, I imagine. And we make contact here. And even without body ethereal, our troops, barbarians are no match for our troops, right? Like this guy's all wounded, but because of the swamp, only 9 attack, 7 defense versus, you know, our 13 attack, 15 defense. Like, and he's already harassed a little bit, but we just have so many packed in here, get a bunch of attacks off, and yeah, one squad routes, and there goes the other. Look, when they get hits on lightly armored troops, they'll do a ton of damage. So we didn't lose anything there. Those fresh baculates got their first taste of battle. That's pretty fun. And then, okay, is this what I think it is? Exobethia? Yes. Okay, so this is our throne battle. And I did actually sneak in here and change the scripting a little bit, knowing that those cavalry were up here. I just wanted to pack us in on the top end and protect. So there come the cavalry. Here come the wyverns. They do land on the crossbows, which is fine. Some of our baculates are close enough to get some hits in, and we lost a couple crossbows, it looked like. We're heavily striking as well. Cavalry, one gets around, but the defenders catch most of them. More smites. The wyverns, they run away. That's nice. So they had decent morale, if I remember right. If we take a look back here, there was a lot more undead. I'm not sure what we did to them. Did we, just take a quick peep. Just Heavenly Strikes we cast there. Just Heavenly Strikes. I don't think they can reach with the Undead Smite, right? They can hit a bunch of troops at once. So, yeah, what happened to those undead? We might have to look back at that. This guy's Communion Master. What does he cast? He summons some wolves. Astral Healing. Oh, yeah. Not gonna be that effective in combat, right? What did this guy cast? He's just a slave, so his gems go to waste. We love that he became a slave for that other guy. Same with this guy. So that worked out for us. And oh, that was our master, huh? Did we get 2 masters? No, okay. This guy cast Mistform a couple times, more wolves. Yeah. Looks like at least 1 Mistform went off on this diseased militia. So this place definitely has a disease. That's not great to be on a throne. Anyways, we'll let the tape roll here. And there's that one cave drake slowly coming in. These horse archers, very ineffective back here. The heavy cavalry up run. There go the militia. I mean, battle fright. Okay, so he was wounded. I just didn't know if disease had a morale malice. I don't think so, but they were bound to run, right? If they've been malnourished and oof. Maybe it was there not enough supplies in here for that many troops. Could that be why they're diseased? I'll have to look at the supplies. Got another astral healing there. Probably not going to help them. The Cape Drake has made contact here. He's grip. Oh, that's the wolf. Oh, he's already routing. And he just got into combat, so he took 1 bite at the Piconye defender, and he's seen enough. And he's faster than us, so he'll probably get away unless we smite him. That's pretty funny. Looks like we've got some warrior illusions that came in. And yeah, that's it. They routed. So we won't catch the mages. But it didn't look like we lost too many troops, right? So that ended up being pretty effective. And we love that they went into a communion against us. So yeah, I think that's the most troops we've lost so far. But hey, only 2 sacreds, 3 crossbows, 6 defenders. I expected more crossbowmen to die when the wyverns landed. But they only killed 4 troops. It's pretty ineffective for them. And yeah, we captured our first throne. We'll take a look at what that is in a second. And then yeah, we got into the water here with our Ichthyids, our Shamblers in the back there. And there's just a handful of mermen. They're not bad. Underwater, they've got 10 attack, 10 defense, 12 damage with some weak poison. Which, okay, you're saying that's not impressive at all, but, you know, compared to 9 attack, 8 defense, we got more hit points, but they're a little better trained, right? And, yeah, oh, they're pretty zippy, and they almost got around there. That'd be weird. So we net some up. Net's working the water too, right? And we definitely take some damage, but we just had too many, combined with some fortunate net throws, and we still lost 7. So they died pretty quick. A couple more events here. A harsh law against vagrancy has been decreed. So those vagrants were put to the sword, or they were hung, and but we got people are happier to work now, I guess. Take that as you will. In Wick Forest, another Dominion event. A miracle's been performed, but by a rival faith. All right. And then we finished 2 fortresses at once. Pretty fun there. And I won't wait long before we check it out. The Throne of Fortune. So maybe not the most powerful throne that we saw, right, for level 2, but we've been getting a good amount of bad events, overall. So I think we can take this and be pretty happy with it. We get more glamour gems. Even with Obscuro, we're going to struggle to find a use for them ourselves. We can trade them. We can convert them into astral gems. And by capturing this water province here, we now connected Rivia, the shop of strange items. So when we claim this throne next turn, we're going to be getting 3 turns. It's not bad. We'll take it. Yeah, so our income jumped up a bunch because we connected with Rivia. We took the water province. We took back the swamps. We took Exobethia, which, 89 income. And then the rest of that is from actually our fortresses, right? Increase income as well. So Greenport, already 200 income. And, we're going to keep growing there pretty steadily. That's nice. But I'm just going to leave it at a fortress, because if we upgraded to a castle, we'd suck the resources out of here. In Farron, however, we have no risk because we're not connected to the capital, right? So we are going to go ahead and build the castle there. Okay, so what's the big news, though? So we see Samatia, right, in Marignon's cap circle. They at least have some land down here still. We haven't scouted this really ever. So they could still have some defense stuff. But you saw that army. That's going to be tough to deal with. But if you have a keen eye, you see that Marignon's Virtue is now back in Dragonskull Mountains, where Pythium's Virtue was last turn. And we didn't see this battle, but I got some intel. And the Virtues actually clashed in Dragonscale. And America, the Virtue, persevered. So with that knowledge, we gotta actually move on Pythium. And before this turn happened, there's actually a big gap between these turns. And I came in, I changed the scripting a little bit, our positioning on this throne battle. I also moved our scouts in a different way because I was considering hitting Dromon instead. Because if we went all the way to Pythium's 2 borders here, it's pretty far and would be hard for us to cover, let alone conquer, even if we're just steamrolling, like in terms of time investment, just a bunch of turns. If we went straight up this way, it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns, right? And we don't have a ton of troops on this border, so with this throne army, I figured we could just come this way, right? Got a decent amount of troops here, another pope coming in, and then, I was going to start recruiting here, and bring this pope as well. So we'd have 3 attack vectors, and then bring in, Victoria if we wanted to attack a weak kind of border province. And so I moved our scouts here to see if there were any troops kind of 2 provinces away from us that we could spot. And no, so unless something is coming through Namor to attack us, I think Jomon's preoccupied, or at least not looking to go on the offensive with us. And so, knowing that Pythium's pretender is down, I think it is time to strike. We're not quite ready. We do have a fair amount of troops here, but only 1 pope, and he's crippled. He's not diseased yet, so he might live. But with just 1 pope, we saw the PD that was in Renthal, right? Tons of troops. So we need a little more firepower. Bringing in 2 more popes, some more sacreds, another caster. We'll come up this way, and then, where we had those popes take on the barbarians, they're coming into Farron. We're recruiting troops here, and then we're just going to march our 100-strong army straight up this way as well. Between that and Virtue maybe hopping over and easily accessible reinforcements from the capital, maybe next turn, maybe 2 turns, because I still want to build Lab Temple here, right? So we can get on-demand mages, which we can now do here with fortresses, right? Every turn we can get a Sage Priest, and then we might move these guys over as well. So research-wise, we're going to get Evo 2 next, which gives Virtue the Shockwave vector, which can be pretty powerful. And so I'm also crafting her some armor. So this is the lesser of the 2 armors. I did debate between the 2. If we look at the plate, just a few hit points, 5 earth gems, right? 17 protection. It's not as good as some of our line troops have, but only -1 defense, only 2 encumbrance, 2 map move penalties, so she can still zip around, and at 2 encumbrance, she'll be able to cast all day. It's more just kind of insurance, right? If invulnerability is going to fail her. This would be a lot more protection, almost as much as the invulnerability, but I think with encumbrance 4, even though she's a combat caster, she'll fatigue out relatively quickly depending on the spell she's casting, and 6 map move penalty is pretty significant. You still get the same amount of hit points, double the gems to make it. So I'm going with the plate, and then a scout can bring it to her wherever she is, and that's just going to be insurance for her. And yeah, we see Jomon's got good amount of territory, right? We saw, and again, I don't know if any of these provinces have changed hands that we saw last term with Utkar, but they could be in conflict. That would make sense since we don't see hardly any troops of theirs, right? That they're going this way. Famidi, I assume they're turtling, but yeah, definitely want more scouts, right? I could be bad about that. So I'm recruiting more this turn. We have more gold, and I do plan to build, good amount of infrastructure next turn, so I don't want to totally zero out, but we could get one more scout. And yeah, Marignan, they're still up against the wall. We haven't really seen any forces of theirs, but they still have their pretender. I mean, I don't think she's gonna stand much of a chance against those guys. Let's see. They don't have magic weapon. They hit hard enough to hurt her. Eventually they will get through 25, and she'll hurt them, but they just have so much HP and the little fire damage. Yeah, against the army we just saw, I don't like her chances. I'm not sure if she's geared up or not. That could make a difference. And yeah, so pretty exciting. I'm excited to finally go to war. In some part of me is like, I could just turtle up and really hit infrastructure, research, not spend any money on troops, and probably not get attacked. Like, be a little greedy in that way, and just rocket ship my research. Because we take these 2 water provinces, we'll have on the north end of 25, I believe, without counting. And, other nations are fighting to get to 20 range. So they're spending money on troops. They're using mages. They're not getting as much infrastructure up. Jomon, actually, we can see at least 3 palisades for them. But it could be effective. But I think, it's just more fun to fight, to be honest. If you just turtle up for the whole game, you're not really playing Dominions. So we want conflict. There's a good opportunity here. We'll see if Ulm also senses that weakness and jumps in, or if Marignan pushes back in an offensive way. But I assume they're just going to play defense here with Samatia breathing down their neck. So yeah, we'll probably start issuing attack orders next turn, and I hope you join us for it. Imagine that. Welcome in, turn 16 here. I got my password in. Took a little break before recording. And would you check it out? A herald has arrived from Pythium. Let it be known that Zara, goddess of Pythium, mistress of the desert wind, the queen of air, proposes peace and a non-aggression pact between our nations. Ooh, very spicy. So Pythium did not reach out to me on the Discord. So this is just a blindly sent, to me, desperation plea, seeing if it sticks. Their god went down, and they're seeing if they can get a cheeky nap and not be attacked. So their cards are on the table. Maybe if they pleaded their case in some fashion, but no. So we're gonna cut off the herald's head. That's gonna be sent back to them. They'll see that message next turn along with our attack orders, right? So that's pretty fun, I think. And moving on, we'll look at the map. It's gonna be a fun turn. Evocation has been researched level 2, so we have Shockwave Vector for uh, Victoria now, and we've got Thermology 1 queued up. And yeah, we claim the throne. I wish I renamed our Pope. That's not very impressive. Auka, the Piconye Pope, has claimed the throne of fortune in the name of Victoria, the Prester Queen. Exciting for us, just the second claimed throne. Victoria struck out again in these Highlands Mountains, so hoping for air gems at some point. We saw a couple battles with Samacia here. I won't show you this one. It's just that same army going into literally no PD. But then in Marion, the capital, okay, so that should be interesting, right? They send mercenaries. So these horse archers here, and I mean, it's a capital, right? It's a capital amount of PD, so they have crossbows, uh, Piconeers, not very impressive troops, honestly. The pike has a lot of range, but not good stats, just okay equipment. There's some halberdiers in here as well, a city guard, and attack 7. I mean, these guys struggle to hit anything, but if they do connect, a lot of damage. So not great troops. And if I had this horse archer army, I would have split them up, put them on either flank with the fire and keep distance, right? That way you split the melee, and if these were better troops, this could have gone differently. They just run right into lances, and it works pretty well for for Samacia. They lose 7 troops if they keep these on the payroll. So good for them. And yeah, that's all the battle. So we have a couple unexpected events, and hey, claiming the throne of fortune, and immediately we'll say it pays off because a great market was held in Golem range, and we collected some taxes or did some dealings there. 906 gold. That's a lot. That kind of makes up for any bad event we've had so far. Okay, but then in soaked earth, well, heavy snowfalls have blocked important roads. But hey, we're net roughly 800 gold. That's lovely. We completed another fortress in Grey Mountains, and we finally got up the Palisades and Jared. We had a little delay there because I wanted to move popes into the throne battle. And yeah, so what's next for us? Yeah, you can see some movement here, and I guess, yeah, let's start there. So I considered a couple different ways to take this first turn. In Farron here, we do have 2 popes, but I did want to get the lab temple up, so I'm just moving 1 for now with all these troops. And yeah, they could take PD probably, but we've seen some dumps by Pythium here, right? And very strong and well organized. I believe I did look this up at one point, and then I forgot what all the exact ranges are. But like, let's see if we can spot something weak. So that's quite well organized. That's anywhere from like 6 to, is it 19? It goes pretty high, and then from 20 to like 30 something is this very strong and well organized. Yeah, there we go. So that's a capital, right? Very strong, well organized. If we look at our capital, it's 25, right? So it could be pretty wide range. And if we run into that with just 1 pope, we just don't have the firepower. We have enough sacreds here, right, to probably still be fine, but we'll take casualties. We want to kill faster than that. Here we just have one Sage Priest, and then here we've got a couple popes, Sage Priest, right? And we're bringing in our Pope and troops from Greenport as well, because they could only strike into Renthal. Again, same problem, just one Pope. So by consolidating here, we consolidate a good amount of troops, stronger than our throne-taking army, more sacreds, and even more firepower with a couple mages. So they'll body Ethereal, and with, I believe, their Motto G1, our Earth 2 guy can cast Farstrike, which is pretty solid spell. It's got range 50, so just as far as our smites. It costs like almost no fatigue, very cheap to cast, and does some good damage. So they can miss with it. It only targets one person, so it's not. It has its drawbacks, but if they do hit, like, that's pretty solid. Main benefit there is its range and low fatigue cost, so that's a pretty decent spell. And we've got another Earth guy here, Earth 2 guy we can bring in. So going back to research, actually, I'm trying to sneak in summon Earth power there, because that'll benefit those mages. And no matter the PD, like, this will kill it. Against mundane troops, this is a monstrous kind of force. And so, yeah, my instinct is, to alpha strike, but we can't do that on this nation. So we want to be methodical. And the other reason is that we haven't really seen Pythium's armies. And since we don't have vision too deep on most of these provinces, right? Like, we can see what's next to Farron, what's next to Greenport, right? We can see our border provinces, but we don't know what's in Pythium. We don't know what's in Blightlands, Great Marshes, Forbidden Field. What could possibly be moving in if Pythium's nervous and does suspect an attack, right? So we're playing it a little safe, but I think that's fine. And this is kind of the strength of the Bird Knight scouts. We're moving a couple in here from Black Alps as well. And, we had a few scouts on their borders. But they couldn't get to these interior provinces. But our bird scouts, just on kind of demand, right? Like, we just decided, okay, we're going to go in, give me eyes. And now we have eyes. We're going to have eyes in their capital and essentially their whole cap circle. So we'll know what's coming on the following turn. We're bringing in reinforcements, and then we can decide, where to strike from there. So that's the deal. And just kind of illustrate my, not concern, but, my trepidation is, if we look at Jomon here, kind of the same thing, where he's got a big stack on his capital. So to me, this reads that he's not at war, and he's undecided about who to attack, right? That's a good amount of units to just sit on your capital, not be using. And so I want to make sure I have scouts parked everywhere too deep that he could move from to get to me, right? So Ligria, Namor, and Dragon Point. So it's going to take me a second to get there. But same thing with Pythium. If he sent us a nap blindly last turn, let's say he sent a nap to Ulm last turn, and he's like, okay, maybe one accepts, maybe one doesn't. And whoever doesn't, he's going to move troops that way. So next turn, we could see a big stack on Pythium as well, which then means, we could either, depending on what that looks like, we could choose to clash in Gifa, if he moves his troops in, or we could just kind of freely move into Renthal and hold this as a position of strength, which we can reinforce easily. It takes him longer to reinforce, right? And then kind of go from there. So we're going to see what does Pythium actually have, because we don't know yet, aside from being virtueless. So that's the first strike plan there. And if we just peek at our formation here, this feels pretty strong to me. We've got 2 lines of defenders here up front. It's kind of awkward because we're meeting up a bunch of kind of disparate armies, so we'll clean up what this looks like. But splitting the defenders up, I think, is smart anyways, they're so slow, and, they can not be, like, troops get around them, right? And they, basically, when a battle in Dominion starts, right, they each kind of choose a unit that they're going for. So attack closest, there's 4 close units, he chooses one, and he might miss that unit, but another unit on the enemy side might, target him. And so this just doubles our chances at making contact with defenders. And then this little troop that we had um, might plug up any gaps if they sneak through the middle, and then our baculets on either side will block anything coming in the sides doing attack rear. And they have each have their own body ethereal caster to buff as many as possible, and our smiters just doing their job in the middle, right? Our popes. So that feels pretty good to me. We'll see how actually looks on the battle map and adjust from there. And yeah, otherwise we're moving in more troops and mages, which we can finally get on demand here. So I'm moving just one from here, but we'll have 1, 2, 3 Sage Priests next turn in Greenport that could join us in Renthal if we want them. And then of course we're just more popes, more sacreds, more defenders. So that's the plan with Pythium, right? Like I think our defender lines up pretty well against their troop. And crossbows are not going to be effective against their tower shields, so we'll be pretty monotone there. And then the only other kind of war thought at the moment is that in these back palisades and fortifications, we're not recruiting troops at the moment. But if we see, based on their scripting, like let's say he sets up his mages at the back and they don't have bodyguards, we could start recruiting Burn Knights in all 3. I think we get 5-ish a turn, right, from here. Recruitment points 200. And link them up and maybe do some surgical strikes with our light air force. And yeah, with that gold influx, we're spending a lot on infrastructure. That's a ton. And I want to keep building up infrastructure, but eventually that's going to drop and we'll be able to put more money towards troops and mages. And yeah, over on the global stage, Myeongyang is still not looking healthy. We didn't get a chance to see what's in their citadel, but that's going to take a long time to siege regardless of any troops in there. And are they going to be able to try to break out? So I don't have a ton of scouts to commit to seeing that fight, but we'll see what's on the capital. Yeah, Jomon does not seem to be in conflict. And look at this. Famini is not turtling, so they're sieging Olir here with some kind of force. That looks recent to me, just based on how far we think borders were here. So I'm moving a scout up to check that out. And then the other one, we see Midgard and Andromania is right on their doorstep. So hopefully we can spot something in their capital as well. So yeah, a lot of excitement. I decided just to move Virtue in to site search another mountains here, and then she'll just pick up her newly crafted armor when she gets there. And my only debate is whether I should also craft her a helmet. Probably. So I'm going to think about that. And yeah, the other kind of big question mark I have is there's a disease site here, right? If we look at our army, we see some of these troops have become diseased, right? So it's definitive. And so that makes me not want to build a fort here, but how do you not build a fort on a throne? So I think it's going to be kind of a paper tiger throne or fortification. I didn't start it this turn. I'm building another scout here. So again, I don't think we're in danger of being attacked anytime soon. So I think we have time to spare on getting the fort up. And I probably just won't put Lab Temple here. I won't get mages. I won't get troops, unless I'm desperate for some reason. But yeah, you kind of have to build a fort on a throne, right? So we'll get there eventually. And yeah, we go to war. Ride with me. Imagine that.